Okay, welcome and good morning. I did just hit the record button, so I want to let you all know we are live. And we're really excited to be here and welcoming you to the Junior Division North Carolina Science and Engineering Fair. So welcome. We hope that you will be able to stay with us for the live events all day. And we want to open up just by congratulating all of the state finalists that made it to the state level and are moving in and out of the live sessions and into their judging throughout the day. We're so excited to have you here. And we want to open up the fair this year first with a couple of sets of congratulatory videos. We have some amazing people in North Carolina who wanted to just take a moment to share with you how much they are proud of your accomplishments. And so to get us started for NCSEF 2021 virtual, we're going to begin with a message from Governor Roy Cooper.
Hi everybody, Governor Roy Cooper here. It's great to speak to you today and tell you how proud I am that you've been selected to compete in the North Carolina Science and Engineering Fair at the state level. Each year, more than 1,600 students from across North Carolina participate in science and engineering fairs at the local, regional, and state level. And being selected to compete at the state level is an impressive accomplishment, and I'm proud of your work to get here. This past year has been anything but normal. Many of you have attended school remotely and had to connect with your teachers and fellow students virtually. Your success in the science fair this year demonstrates a special resilience and strength. Participating in the science fair is a great way to apply what you learn in the classroom to real-world research projects. While this year's state competition is virtual, you'll still get the opportunity to hear from inspiring leaders in science, technology, engineering, and math, in addition to learning from your fellow students and their projects. Congratulations again on competing at the North Carolina Science and Engineering Fair. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope to see you competing again in person in 2022. Keep up the good work.
All right, and in addition to Governor Cooper's welcome, we also have,
Hi, everybody.
We also have the State Superintendent of Public Instruction for all of North Carolina. And this is Catherine Truitt, and she just wanted to open the fair today with a congratulatory message. And so just another moment, and we will be welcomed by Catherine.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Truitt, and I am the Superintendent of Public Instruction for North Carolina. I want to extend my sincerest congratulations to all of you for being promoted to the state competition. I know you have worked so hard to research, prepare, and present your projects, and I can't wait to follow along virtually. Although this science and engineering fair does not look like years past, I wanted to express how incredibly impressed I am with each and every one of you for getting to this point. This past year has been difficult, and the pandemic has posed so many challenges, but you all have persevered and overcome them in order to compete. You all should feel proud and accomplished for your work and your commitment to entering this year's competition. As a former teacher, I understand and appreciate the importance of STEM skills. Science, technology, engineering, and math are some of the most important foundational skills in life. These fields encourage critical thinking and problem solving, and STEM experts go on to make major developments and contributions to our society, as exemplified by the COVID vaccine. Your interest in STEM now will only open greater doors for you in the future, and today is only a part of your journey. I want to again congratulate all participants for your extraordinary efforts. I know your research and your findings will blow us away. I wish you all the best of luck, and I can't wait to see the top projects that will advance to ISEF virtual competition.
Yes, and we are very grateful to our state superintendent and to our governor for extending their thanks. And we just want you to know that we share their pride. You are amazing representatives of North Carolina, and we are so proud to be here with you today. Not just our state leaders, that are proud of you. We have several sponsors that we'd like to acknowledge that come together each year and donate time and talent and treasure in order to best support the fair so that you have the opportunity to share your research. And so I'd like to start out with thanking our sponsors. The Biogen Foundation has been a long-standing presenting sponsor of the Science and Engineering Fair, and we are so grateful for their contributions and support. In addition to our presenting sponsors, we have several other corporate sponsors and in-kind partners. And so we'd like to extend our thanks to our platinum sponsors that include SAS, the Burroughs Wellcome Fund, and the North Carolina Science, Mathematics, and Technology and Education Center. Our gold level sponsors include RTI International, the Broadcom Foundation, DLH, Tunnel, Red Hat, and the Society for Science. And we are so appreciative of our gold level sponsors. Make sure that you check these guys out in Symposium today and complete that passport. We also have silver level sponsors, and we have Wiley Wilson joining us for the first time this year. Go check out, they have a very unique business model they'd love to share with you. And our bronze sponsors, we have Roe and Strategic Education Alliance, and one of our newer partners in the National Inventors Hall of Fame. So be sure to stop by and check them out. We also have in-kind partners that really make this happen. And so if you are with us next year or were with us last year, you know that our face-to-face host is North Carolina State University. They continue to support us in our efforts virtually. And we want to extend a thanks to them. And then there is Meredith College, where I am actually housed. They are our home base, and they have been very generous to us over the years. They used to host our face-to-face events. And new to us this year is Forager One. They are the developers for the Symposium platform. So when you're in there checking out your peers' projects and visiting the sponsors and exhibitors, that is the company who brought that to you. Be sure when you're in there to drop in some congratulatory comments for your peers about their research and ask them some great questions. And then you're all very familiar with STEM Wizard. We use STEM Wizard extensively, and you have had a lot of experience in that platform. So make sure that you, as you jump in, you're getting your emails from STEM Wizard, and that you are joining us today for all of the rest of our virtual events through Symposium. At this point, it looks like our State Fair Director is not able to jump on. And so I'm going to get this started. Judy, are you good to go? Okay, wonderful.
Yes,
so with
they're gonna
that,
hold
I
on for
would
a minute.
love to introduce our State Fair Director, Judy Day.
Hi, I'm still putting out problems along the way, so I've got to get back to the phone in just a minute. But I wanted to welcome everybody and to say how exciting it is that we are still able to have a fair this year, even though it is virtual. That this is the second Saturday that we have had a fair. We have one more to go with elementary on April the 24th. So even though you've had difficulties this year, you're a testament that you can still do research, and that we've been able to continue keep that excitement about science and engineering and technology and mathematics going along the way. And we don't want that to stop. We want it to continue. So please don't stop what you're doing. You can start thinking about, right away, looking at what's going on and on the Symposium site, and maybe getting some ideas as to what you might want to investigate next year, what you might want to work on along the way. So I want to remind everybody that you have a passport that you can complete by visiting some of the exhibits that are in the Symposium, and we will have a drawing for gift cards for that. And be sure and look at the sessions that the other students have with all of their research. But you can look at the senior division and your division, and soon you'll be able to look at all of the elementary projects as well, and see how they're approaching their research, and maybe ways that you might want to incorporate some of the ideas that you're seeing in the future. So we encourage you to go on, and I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow at 3 p.m., which is when we have the award ceremony, and it will be at that same site through the Symposium. You'll see the link there for you to be able to go to be able to come to the awards. And it is open to the public. So I know in the past, sometimes we've had limited seating and being able to get everybody in, but for this, It's open to anybody you want to invite. So make sure that you spread the word to your teachers, to your family, to your friends. They can all come in and watch the ceremony. And they can also all go to that symposium site. We're probably going to have that open for almost a year. So please have them go and visit and look at that too. It's nice to be able to say, go look at this. You can see my project and see what I did. So anyway, have a great day. Enjoy your judging. Talk to the judges. Smile and know that they are all there because they wanted to come in and work with you and meet you and learn about your research. So have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Judy. And you will see Judy again at the awards ceremony. And so with that, I'm going to do a quick overview of what's available to you. So we did have the 27th for the senior division, we did have Spark speakers, and I want you to know that those videos are still recorded. And so if you want to catch up, if you weren't able to join the live events on the 27th, those are still available to you. We had these 3 amazing alumni sharing that day. For today, we have some more Spark speakers to kick off the morning and get our thinking. We want these folks to make us curious and get us excited and have us asking new questions. And then don't miss out. Next weekend, we will also be doing this. You are welcome to come to the live events every single week. And so we have 3 more Spark Talks next week. We will be recording those too, and everything will be added to the playlist. The 27th distinguished guest speaker for lunch was Jacqueline Howard. She taught us an amazing amount of stuff about global supply chain and global collaboration and all of the STEM careers that fall under that supply chain umbrella. It was amazing, dynamic talk, and she is very open to connecting with students. If you have additional questions for her, find her on LinkedIn. Today's lunch speaker will be Dr. Rachel Lance. She has some very unique research, a great niche category for her research, and she will be sharing with us some of the research that she does on traumatic injuries and from high pressure and ballistics. And we're really excited. So make sure after the Spark Talks this morning, you jump back, you grab some food and jump back in to hear Dr. Lance speak to us. And then next week for the elementary division competition, we have the learning team from Marbles coming to do their Spark Talk. And they are going to really link STEM, inquiry, and curiosity and the importance of always asking new questions. So we're really excited to hear from the Marbles team next week. And finally, our keynote event is always going to be our student researchers. And so thank you to those of you who did sign up for today's 2 minutes with a mic. If you didn't, we still want you to jump in and join it and hear the research summaries of your peers. This is how you're going to get good ideas and ask new questions. So make sure that throughout the day, as you're joining the live events, you are jumping in and thinking hard and sparking new ideas. We will do this every week. And so next week, if you want to jump in and see the elementary projects being presented by our competitors, our state finalists in the elementary division, we are very excited to host you for that next weekend. And you will, to get to all of these pieces and events, you will always use that symposium link. And finally, the one piece that we kind of neglected to tell folks in the 27th is that you did give us a size for a t-shirt. This is a preview of what your t-shirt will look like. It will come with your certificate and medal when you get those pieces from us. Remember that they will not be sent out after this weekend. They will be sent out following the elementary fair, and it will include your t-shirt. And if you look back, that is the design on the back of it. We're so proud of you all for persevering and doing your research, even though circumstances made it very difficult this year. And we are excited. This t-shirt was actually designed by one of our alumni, Lauren Sanders, who will be speaking next week at the Spark Talk in the morning. And so with that, we also want you to mark your calendars for our fair for next year. We are hoping to be back at NC State live and face-to-face. But we are waiting. These are the dates we have applied for. We're just waiting for NC State to give us that confirmation. We're fairly confident we will be getting them. So go ahead, mark your calendar for next year. If you're moving on up into high school, we look forward to having you in that senior division. And if you For the competitors today, I know Catherine Truitt mentioned our state superintendent, that possibility of ISEF. So if you're going to the senior division next year, that's something to look forward to. And as you compete today, you have the opportunity to maybe move on to the Broadcom Masters competition. And we hope that many of you have your eyes on that. And with that, those are your opportunities to engage outside of your judging session. I do want to encourage you, your judging session is the most important piece today. Make sure you make that time slot. And then jump back into our live events, which we are going to get started this morning. I will do a quick overview of the agenda for today so that you can have it in your brain. We will start right now. You're in the welcome and the Spark Talks, and we have two amazing alumni ready to inspire you this morning. Then we will have a tiny break for you to grab some food, use the restroom, whatever you need, and jump back in with Dr. Rachel Lance. And following that, we will have our young researchers presenting. And so that is you. You are the stars of this show. And we are really looking forward to hearing those research summaries. We will record those, and so you can share them broadly. You can put them on the beginnings of your resume and point to your work. We're really excited to be able to record those pieces for you today. And then tomorrow, do not miss the awards ceremony. The link is already available in Symposium. And I will send it out this evening, again, through STEM Wizard, so that you have it at the ready. We want you there. We want to celebrate each other as we go through this. And with that, I have been talking a long time. I am excited to get our Spark Talks going. Before we just jump right in, I wanted to spend just a couple of seconds talking to you about what is a Spark Talk. And so the purpose of the Spark Talk, we have our alumni speakers here. And when I say alumni, I mean we have young researchers who have been in your shoes, have competed in this competition, and are now coming to share their inspiration and questions with you. The purpose is really, they're going to talk for about 10 minutes. What you want to do is capture that inspiration. They're going to talk about a big idea or ask a really good question, and we want it to spark your thinking. That is the purpose of a Spark Talk. It is for inspiration and to ask new questions. So as our speakers share, you are welcome. I have you all on mute right now, but you are most welcome to drop questions, thoughts, cheers in the chat. Share your connections as we go. And after each speaker, we will stop and allow questions. And we want to hear them. The whole thinking behind research is getting curious and asking great questions. So please do jump in and ask our Spark speakers your questions. The slide does say we have 3 speakers, but unfortunately, one of our amazing alumni speakers, Amari, is quite sick today and is not able to join us. She is a wonderful, amazing young researcher that has a great story to tell. And so we look forward to inviting Amari back when she's feeling better to share with you at another event. So watch for that. If you're curious about Amari, she is in our alumni corner. So if you go to ncsef.org, you can actually read her story, and there is a video interview that I conducted with Amari, so you can learn a bit about her from that. So with that, we're actually going to move directly to Zane Dash. I'm going to do a quick intro for Zane, so you have a little bit of information on him, and then I'm going to pass the microphone. So Zane Dash is joining us today. He's a first-year Moorhead Kane Scholar at UNC Chapel Hill. He's majoring in neuroscience and chemistry and on a pre-med track. As a science fair competitor, Zane placed first at school, county, and regional fairs and received special recognition from the Burroughs Wellcome Fund for quality student research. Advanced from the state fair to the 2018 Intel International Science and Engineering Fair in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He is also the founder and president of the STEM Mentorship Academy, and it is a soon-to-be nonprofit organization that has provided STEM mentorship, resources, and opportunities to over 700 students in North Carolina in this school year. And with that, I will pause and let Zane grab the microphone and start sharing his screen. Welcome, Zane.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gibson. I will share my screen. Perfect. Okay, let me just make sure everything's working. Perfect. All right, so hello everyone. My name is Zane Dash, and I am a first year Moorhead Kane undergraduate student majoring in neuroscience and chemistry. Today, I'm going to speak to you about something fundamental, an idea at the core of nearly every lesson learned, resource access, or in the case of our student competitors here today, nearly every experiment or device created, mentorship. Today, I'm going to share an incredible idea that has driven me for the past few years, inspiring me more each day. I want to develop free STEM mentorship, virtual and in person, both in schools and in community spaces, that's accessible to all students, particularly those in need, where kids across North Carolina, no matter their background or resources, can work on STEM projects and lessons that they love, aided by student and professional mentorship. I discovered mentorship through STEM extracurriculars, and specifically science fair. In middle school, my science Olympiad teacher encouraged me to apply my passion for STEM to studying the human body, the solar system, and much more. I want to show you some of those interests on this slide. In high school, 2 STEM teachers taught me to use my growing skills to create incredible opportunities and to guide myself along a path of academic and extracurricular STEM education. In short, people in my community instilled me with a foundation of confidence and security in my STEM talents. Inspired, I discovered interest in chemistry and neuroscience as subjects to both master for a hopeful future life in medicine and to curiously study, as I find both fields fascinating. I then applied these interests to my extracurriculars, and the results were exciting. In science fair, I earned first place awards within my school and region, second place at the state fair, and a spot at the 2018 Intel International Science Engineering Fair for a project that I completed almost entirely without others' guidance. Over my first 3 years in science fair, I analyzed styrene concentrations, Gen X levels, and in my freshman year, the sodium levels of potato chips. And these interests helped me to reach opportunities like ISEF that I could only have dreamed of years earlier. Yet my experiences in STEM sparked me to, in the words of the 2018 ISEF, think beyond my own path. At the International Fair in Pittsburgh, students and judges told me that very few projects qualified without the support of parents, teachers, university research faculty, and others. As students from across Pennsylvania attended ISEF's Outreach Day, a few groups of kids from rural parts of the state told me that they had no idea how to begin a scientific research project like mine. At a variety of science fairs, I found that students from some schools were often simply in greater attendance, and they often had more success. This extended just beyond science fair. In Science Olympiad, teams and students with the most resources in terms of time, funding, personnel, and other forms of support advanced to and dominated competitions ranging from the regional to national level. I had seen this, but consider this. What if students without resources could compete with their ideas and talents with the guidance of mentors like those I had benefited from in my own life? I had observed these inequities on regional, state, national, and international levels, but I couldn't comprehend or even begin to solve the world's issues. I had to start smaller on a level that I could better understand and hopefully affect change in my home county, New Hanover County, in Wilmington, North Carolina. I attended a training workshop held by the North Carolina Science and Engineering Fair Foundation. I became formally acquainted with how to guide students' research and experimentation. While I was there, a teacher shared with me her experiences as an instructor in 2 different county elementary schools. In one class, in a more affluent school near the beach, nearly every student passed the science EOG exam. In another class at a school of Title I designation, only a few students passed the exam. The reality that some students in schools were afforded greater resources and access to opportunities while others were not, and that such inequities could determine who feels confident in their STEM abilities, who learns how to develop such abilities, who enters the STEM field as an adult. That reality was unmistakable, and I had seen it at all levels of STEM education and extracurriculars in various forms. Again, I was and am only one person. I was one soon to be adult. I am now only one adult. And I was figuring out how to solve something much, much larger than myself. But nevertheless, it was time for me to get started. For 3 years, I coached middle school students in the Science Olympiad event Solar System to regional and state championships in their event and to a 17th place at the National Science Olympiad. This experience taught me a lot. And in my senior year of high school, I drew upon what I had learned as a mentor in founding here on this slide, the Science Fair Academy at my high school, an organization equipping approximately 70 elementary and middle school students, largely attending Title I schools, with mentorship from high school students at Isaac Beverly College, my high school. The program was a tremendous success, with mentees advancing to county and regional fairs and teachers noting the visible academic and personal impacts of mentorship. You can see it some on this slide. Kids created address signs for disadvantaged families. They made devices for collecting recess equipment, and they created science fair projects that were focused on their own interests: electricity, heat, other areas. For myself, I learned how to create and lead an organization. And entering my freshman year of college during a globally challenging time, I was determined to replicate that success. Over the last several months, I've founded and led the STEM Mentorship Academy organization as its president, creating a statewide and national network of over 270 high school and college mentors and over 700 mentees enrolled in elementary, middle, and high school, 19 schools across the state. Our mission is to provide STEM mentorship resources and opportunities to North Carolina K-12 students, particularly to those in need. Any student of any background is welcome to receive mentorship. Our mentees, students just like you, are competing in science and engineering fairs, science Olympiad competitions, Project Lead the Way, First Robotics, Envirothon, and they're learning with Sphero robots, Rube Goldberg machines, interactive presentations that our own mentors create, and a variety of other projects. They're competing, they're learning, they're discovering STEM. We're continuing to expand, creating virtual spaces and mentor and mentee portals to enrich our community, recruiting STEM professionals to discuss their careers in a speaker series, compiling databases and lists of resources and opportunities, applying for nonprofit status with UNC's Law School, fundraising for our mentees and mentors of present and future, you name it. Teachers have been some of our biggest supporters, praising our mentors and organization and connecting us to additional schools and students for an even more successful year ahead. This past year, and in founding STEM Academy, I find myself learning more than I ever have. Creating a nonprofit volunteer organization is, as I have learned, more difficult than I'd ever imagined. Along the way, I recruited a team of passionate individuals, and each day I'm amazed by the insights and skills that they bring to our efforts. And official organizations need official documents, and UNC's Law School worked with us to develop agreements and protections ensuring the safety of our mentors, mentees, and other stakeholders. As our program grew, I reaffirmed my belief that a one-size program can't fit all communities properly. So we're working to create grassroots, community-focused chapters across the state of students just like yourself. In engaging with these areas and the organizations that serve them, I've understood something I knew already, but confirmed for myself, that North Carolina is an incredible place for exploring STEM. Nonprofits and organizations like those on this slide, the North Carolina Center for After School Programs, North Carolina Math Science Engineering Network at NC State, STEM Southeast North Carolina, First Robotics, the list continues. It's practically endless. Students, if you want individuals invested in your STEM future, this is the right state for you. Finally, and looking ahead, my learning will continue as we want our mentees to be as active in receiving mentorship as they are in guiding it and providing their feedback. So we're reaching out to students across the state to ask what areas of STEM they want to discover, what organizations might you want to partner with, and how these students want to discover them. In essence, we are learning from our own mentees. With mentorship, the sky for learning is truly the limit. Now, let's revisit the idea I offered earlier: free STEM mentorship, virtual and in person, both in schools and in community spaces, accessible to all students, particularly those in need. Where if students need help, they want to connect with other students or STEM professionals, they need to search a central database to access a summer camp, they can. And I know that I presented a huge amount of information. So here's the core of what I mean. The idea is that if nothing else, I want you to remember from today: any STEM support that students like you want, need, don't even know that you want or need, we and other educational organizations across the state are working to offer those. We're working to provide those supports. It will take time, but this lofty goal pictured on this slide is truly achievable. I wouldn't be speaking before you today without my own mentors, my own team within my organization. And so now and in the future, remember and thank those who helped you, those who made your journey possible. When you're thinking of others, think beyond what you alone are doing and pay attention to the students around you. Is there something they need? Is there something they want? Have your parents review our organization, consider becoming a STEM Academy mentee, or if you're in 8th grade and moving into high school, a mentor, and feel free to ask any questions at all along the way. Perhaps most importantly, try to be a mentor to others now and in the future in STEM or anything else. If my journey is any indication, you may just discover your passion. Thank you to the fair's organizers, students, and parents. I'm happy to answer any questions at all.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Zane. This is now your opportunity. Our participants, you are welcome to drop questions into the chat. And Zane, if you we will do a little Q&A. I will get the questions started, but once we're all done, if you would drop how to reach you into the chat in case
Absolutely.
people would like that contact information. And so I've had the opportunity to talk to you before, and I am just so inspired by your enthusiasm, your passion, but also your outreach to make this happen. And so I do know what age you were when you started this journey, but I would love for you to just kind of tell the audience again what age you started at, but also then follow up with how did you have the courage?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in terms of what age I started with science fair, that was freshman year of high school. So 15, and getting into mentorship. I also started, as I talked about my solar system mentorship, that started early in high school and then developed in senior year into Science Fair Academy. And now this year with STEM Academy. I think that I had the courage because it was something I didn't see this need met across the state. It was something that I had never heard about. There were supports that I wanted that I just didn't know existed. So I think in mustering the courage, if you will, I just thought about what I would have wanted as a student. And I ask all the students today to reflect on that. What are the things that you need? Who can you work with to make those happen? Who can you tell about your ideas? Because there's a lot of power in ideas. It may sometimes feel like everybody's taken all the great ideas, but that's not even close to the truth. So yeah, reflect on what you need. Remember that you have teams of individuals around you to support you. Those are the two main needs, I think, to have the courage to do anything in STEM. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just one follow-up is you did talk about the idea of outreach and networking. And it is something I think a lot of us are uncomfortable with, but I would love for you to just talk a little bit about that experience and kind of how you found your way.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, outreach and networking, that's very much a process where you learn it as you're doing it. And I would just say to all the students out here, I don't know exactly how you got here. I don't know the backgrounds of your projects, but one of the best things you can do is just search up something you're interested in. So, okay, I want to learn about neuroscience. I want to learn about chemistry, maybe something about how the brain works. Search up what you're interested in and find people who are looking into that. So if it's at a university, if it's in your area, if it's a student study group, whatever it is, look for those opportunities and then just send an email. Just send an email. That's the easiest thing in the world. You don't need to make a phone call. People are never intimidated by your reaching out. The worst they can do is not respond, but that's rarely the case. So try making that first initial connection, and I promise you things will only develop from there. I made a few connections in the fall, and by the spring, I was having to schedule calls with people every week and learning all about things that I had no idea about before. So yeah, try to make that initial connection because I think it's a really powerful thing, and it can set up opportunities that you just have no idea about before you reach out.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Zane. Zane is going to stay on through Vivana's talking Q&A. So if you are a participant who is watching and a question pops into your head, feel free to drop it in the chat. And Zane, if you would, as I transition to Vivana's talk, just drop in, how do I reach you if I want to talk to Zane? And for all of the participants on here, if you are looking and you're not sure who to reach out to, you can always reach out to me and I'd be happy to be your connector, or Judy. Judy would love to help you find that connection. All right, hooray. Well, thank you so much. With that, I'm going to start sharing my screen again. And, oops, sorry. I'm going to move us into our next talk. So thank you so much, Zane. And now I am going to introduce Vivana, who is going to talk to us about Between the Question and the Quest. So a little bit of background about Vivana. She is from Region 6 as she competed. Oh, I think I forgot to mention that Zane was Region 2, New Hanover County. Vivana is a Region 6 alumni, and She is currently an 8th grade student at Metrolina Regional Scholars Academy. She is a top 30 finalist for Broadcom Masters. That was last year in 2020. Congratulations. First place winner of the Arizona State University Sustainability Fair and the recipient of the Rob and Melanie Walton Foundation Sustainability Solutions Award in 2020. She also is North Carolina Water and Environmental Association first place winner. Vivana enjoys all kinds of music and is particularly fascinated with musical intervals, and enjoys trying different permutations and combinations of the altered intervals to change the feel or emotion of a musical piece. You're after my mathematical heart saying that, Vivana. She will be graduating with a bachelor's degree in Hindustani classical music and music theory in 2022. She also enjoys playing badminton, debating, especially with her father, because he is a tough component, and thinks that cryo-electron microscope is the coolest invention yet. And with that, I will pass the microphone and stop sharing my screen over to Vivana. So Vivana, if you want to get set up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, all good. And we can also see.
All right, I'm gonna get started. So imagine living in a world where invention, design, innovation, and technology just didn't exist, let alone daring to escape the Earth's orbit. We all would be stuck in the Stone Age for eternity, perhaps hunting animals with our bare hands, or still living in caves, sheltered. That smartphone or computer you use to connect with the world, or that nice car you drive. Whether it's the simple things, like a refrigerator or microwave, that we take for granted, to the revolutionary medical innovations that are saving lives, we all are the beneficiaries of those inventions because an individual or a team somewhere in the world had an idea, the determination to test that idea, and arrive at a scientific conclusion through the process of trial and error, and then shared the results with the rest of the world. Did you know that even if the results you obtain in your research are completely contrary to your hypothesis, you still have made a crucial discovery? Hi, I'm Vivana Habal, an 8th grade student at Metrolina Regional Scholars Academy in Charlotte, a top 30 finalist at Broadcom Masters 2020, first place winner of the Arizona State University Sustainability Fair, and the recipient of the Rob and Melanie Walton Foundation Sustainability Solutions Award 2020. I want to take this time to thank NCSCF for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my perspectives with you all. And thank you, Ms. Gibson, for that wonderful introduction. I firmly believe that a hypothesis is an essential bridge between the question and the quest. A great question inspires a brilliant idea and consequently an exciting hypothesis, while the diligence in the quest for solutions to a question drives research to an important scientific conclusion and end goal, whether or not it aligns with its hypothesis. Many people fear to engage with their scientific ideas because they think that the result of their scientific research must achieve a predetermined outcome that aligns with their hypothesis. This belief sometimes deters many students from pursuing their scientific research, as they're afraid they may not be able to prove an anticipated outcome. I want to emphasize that a hypothesis is solely an educated prediction that conveys an experimental goal, and the beauty of a hypothesis is that it allows several alternative approaches in the experimental process. By design, hypotheses predict the outcome of an idea. It does not guarantee one. The objective is for an idea to be tested, not proven. Therefore, a hypothesis can never fail in real time, and that is what makes it so powerful. Refraining from expressing your new ideas due to fear of them being rejected, be it because your experimental results are contradicting your hypothesis, or perhaps just a self-doubt, could lead to a potentially impactful idea being wasted. Not every hypothesis that has been tested and proven in history is set in stone. Any previously proven hypothesis can be challenged, disapproved, reviewed, or reestablished, which are all a part of a vital course any evolving field must take. An idea is ineffective if it stays unexpressed. Imagine what would happen if Nikola Tesla, one of history's greatest inventors, got discouraged and let his most revolutionary invention of alternating current go unexplored because he was ridiculed for wasting everyone's time with this impossible idea. If Shirley Jackson, a theoretical physicist and the first African-American woman to be awarded a PhD from MIT, despite her non-cooperating peers, conducted breakthrough scientific research with subatomic goals that enabled others to invent the fax machine, touch-tone telephones, solar cells, fiber optic cables, and caller ID technology. If Alexander Graham Bell, an undeterred engineer, hesitated to establish the Bell Telephone Company in 1877 because his new device was rejected, quote unquote, as hardly more than a toy, and that John Gray pulled back because he was balked at a public demonstration of his working television in London. If the Wright brothers stopped building their flying machines because they were ridiculed for, quote unquote, having a madman's fantasy until they successfully flew the world's first powered aircraft in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina in 1903. All these pioneers went on to make history because they dared giving their idea a chance despite facing resistance. Another enduring value of research is many a time people make discoveries that they never anticipated they would during their study. Did you know that Sir Alexander Fleming was experimenting with the influenza virus to study the body's innate protection against invasion by microorganisms when he discovered penicillin, the first naturally occurring antibiotic drug used therapeutically from a mold that had contaminated Staphylococcus culture? The Belgian chemist Leo Baekeland was experimenting to find synthetic replacement for expensive resin secreted by a South Asian beetle, and he produced the world's first plastic in that process. That Percy Spencer discovered microwaves when he was working to find energy sources to run radar equipment. That while testing if cathode rays could pass through glass, German physicist Wilhelm Röntgen discovered X-rays, and for the first time, physicians worldwide had a non-surgical tool to see inside the body. That Wilson Greatbach invented the pacemaker, a device implanted to regulate a human heart when he was conducting experiments with an oscillator to record heart sounds. And that DuPont chemist Stephanie Kwolek invented high-tensile Kevlar, a material that is 5 times stronger than steel, while trying to perfect a lighter fiber for automobile tires. We can go on and on with such remarkable instances that have revolutionized the way that the world approached problems after their discovery. That being said, communication and collaboration are extremely essential aspects of finding solutions to problems at a global scale. When you communicate your ideas through your research, irrespective of whether your findings support your hypothesis or not, it may open up possibilities for new approaches and inspire additional research in analyzing complex scientific facts which were previously unknown. As a rising 6th grader, I was posed with the question, what if 50 years from now, fossil fuel reserves were completely exhausted? I was stumped, but this question pushed me to think really hard. I developed a keen interest in sustainable energy after I learned about it through a series of documentaries focusing on the challenges of depleting energy resources our world is facing at an exceedingly alarming rate. I learned how excessive fossil fuel burning is leading to the release of exponential amounts of greenhouse gases into our atmosphere, and how they bring about devastating effects to our environment. I tried to fully grasp the possibility of Earth being completely depleted of fossil fuels in the next 50 years, and what would we do if there were no alternative fuel resources available? After all, fossil fuels are not an infinite resource. Think about it. All public transport would come to a grinding halt. Food production, electricity, heating, clothing, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, and electronic industries would all be hit very hard, and millions lose their jobs. many communication systems would fail and there would be widespread deforestation to meet energy needs. Knowing this, one word, catastrophic, came to my mind, and I wanted to do my part to try to change that. And I knew I could bring that change using science as a tool. I hypothesized a microbial fuel cell would be sustainable and an economically viable choice that would generate enough electrical energy and end our fossil fuel dependency. And that idea became the inspiration of my science research project that year. My hypothesis, however, was proven correct about generating sustainable energy using soil-based microbial fuel cells. But at their peak voltage, my microbial fuel cells did not turn out as cost-effective as I had predicted. Was I disappointed with my results? Absolutely. I had worked on it all year, and for me, it was not easy to accept that my results only partially supported my hypothesis. However, the greatest lesson I learned from the experience was that I was putting too much focus on whether the results supported my hypothesis, and less on what I can learn from the results. What questions do these results inspire, and how can I use those results to plan my approach to solve this problem in the future? To me personally, hypotheses thereafter had become what I would call a reflection juncture to analyze why I predicted the way I did and why the results turned out the way they did. At this point, I definitely didn't want to give up on finding a sustainable solution that was cost-effective as well. So, for my next science project, I chose to work on producing biofuels by repurposing agro-industrial wastes like sugarcane and sorghum bagasse to increase lipid production from microalgae. This project was very time-consuming and needed extensive planning. I faced some tough challenges in the process, and I had to come up with tons of solutions to address them. I worked all my weekends and all my holidays on my project, but at the end, it was all worth it. I was able to produce biodiesel by significantly lowering biofuel production costs while achieving higher biofuel harvests per year than conventional biofuel wheat crops. It was a great honor for me to have been chosen as one of the nation's top 30 Broadcom Master finalists, and I am truly grateful to society, the science, and the public for recognizing my work and providing me an amazing platform to share my research with a vast audience. I'm immensely grateful for the support extended by NCSCF in providing a platform and encouraging local students like me to share their scientific work and foster that passion for STEM. For me, it's a moment of pride that all the work I put into this project was worth it. Something I learned about myself in this project was that I could push myself hard if I needed to and overcome my obstacles independently, and I never realized that about myself before. I fully appreciated how one research study can lead you to visit various interdisciplinary fields and how every field is just so intricately interconnected. Think about the opportunity to learn cost analysis, psychology, plant anatomy, physiology, molecular biology, and earth and environmental sciences, all in a largely chemistry-based sustainability research project. My message to all you science enthusiasts out there is, don't let your fears hold you back from communicating your ideas to the world. Don't be afraid to challenge the pre-existing beliefs, or maybe your own hardwired beliefs. Sometimes we may find an answer. Sometimes we may find multiple answers. And sometimes it seems like there's no right answer at all. And in scientific research, all those possibilities are completely valid. A hypothesis should always be about a probability and putting your idea to the test. Imagine if one of your ideas could one day be translated into something tangible. It could touch millions of lives and make a difference in this world. What an inspiring story that would be. So believe that you have what it takes to change this world. Find problems you care about in your community, and science can be your means of finding the solutions you want. And remember, there is always a space for doing science in anything you do. Thank you.
Hooray! Thank you, Ravana. That was so inspiring. I do have, this is opportunity for Q&A, and it looks like actually Zane wants to jump in with a question to get us started, so I'll let him jump in.
Actually, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to raise my hand.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. So right now, if you are listening to Vivana and you have questions or thoughts about her process, feel free to jump and drop it in the chat. I would love to know, Vivana, you and I had a chance to talk and a little bit about kind of your internal struggle. As a young researcher, did you always feel this confident about a failed hypothesis? What was that like for you when you started versus now?
When I first started out in science fair and, doing research projects on science topics, I felt very insecure on whether my hypothesis would, produce a predetermined outcome. And now I've come to realize that is definitely not the case. And if you get your hypothesis wrong, you can learn from it and grow from it. And maybe in your next science project, you can use what you've learned to and add that in your next science project so you can, help your research, evolve. So basically you evolve, meanwhile your research evolves as well. So that as you said, I did have an internal struggle with that because I felt inadequate that I wasn't able to come up with a hypothesis that was correct. And now I've just, grown and evolved as a person. I've realized that it's certainly not the case at all.
That's amazing. And then something else I've been curious about, because I did not ever get to go to Broadcom. Can you talk to us just a little bit about what was that experience like for you?
Well, Broadcom Masters was an amazing experience that I will never forget in my entire lifetime. I've met 29 other Broadcom Masters that I will be friends for life. And I've learned so much from them. And we have done so many team challenges together, and we've just grown and bonded together as a collective. And I feel like that's the most interesting and the most important aspect of Broadcom, that it allows you to forge connections with your teammates as well as the other Broadcom masters, and you just learn from them and you just grow as a person. I think science research is about, as well as your research, it's about for you to grow as a person and evolve into the best person that you can be.
All right, and we have a question from our audience. Can you talk a little bit about how you got involved in the science and engineering community?
Well, my inspiration basically for, coming in to the science and engineering community and probably becoming really invested in sustainability mostly, is that mainly came from two places actually. My father's hometown, just called the Sugar Belt for its many sugar factories, and the US Department of Energy documentaries, which I probably talked about in my speech just now. And in many developing countries, the sugarcane and sorghum factories, which is the agro-industrial waste that I used in my project, they burn their bagasse residues out in the fields, leaving a massive carbon footprint every year due to lack of efficient disposal methods. And every 10 tons of sugarcane or sorghum produce only 3 tons of bagasse. I learned that agro-industrial waste still contains simple sugars trapped in cellulose. And I also learned that some species of microalgae can assimilate these simple sugars in their metabolism and increase their total lipid yields. And basically my first introduction, and where it all started, my first introduction to sustainable energy happened while watching documentaries on the US Department of Energy website. And these documentaries focused on how fossil fuels are being exhausted at an exceedingly alarming rate, and how they might be completely depleted in a matter of 50 years. And that's when I realized that fossil fuels are not an infinite resource, and innovating economically viable solutions for large-scale production of biofuels and alternative energy sources is crucial to develop sustainable alternatives.
Wonderful. And I do have Zane with a question. Zane, you can jump on the mic.
Oh, perfect. Vivana, I'm very impressed by all the work that you've discussed here. And I'm just curious, you're in 8th grade, you have a lot ahead of you. So what's your plan for the future in terms of both what you want to research, what you want to explore, and also how you can communicate what you've learned to a wider audience, because what you're talking about are really important ideas. So I'm just curious as to what your plans are for telling others about them, inspiring them. Yeah.
Well, what I want to do is I want to get into a job field that actually, talks about this and, really talks about this. And basically my plans for my future studies in my current project right now. So I think that two studies that are really promising are nanotechnology and genetic engineering. And the first obstacle that I'd like to address would be that many microalgal species have a tough cell wall that requires a lot of energy to break. And one solution could be to genetically engineer and conduct a gene transfer like the light C gene, which encodes for the enzyme autolysis in bacteria, like Bacillus subtilis. Now I'd like to program an induction of autolysis of the microalgal cell wall at the end of their growth cycle so the microalgal lipids can be directly released into the medium. And the second obstacle I'd like to address would be the high cost of the enzymes. To solve this issue, I would like to study nanoparticles that can form covalent bonds with enzymes and keep the enzyme molecules in an activated state for prolonged periods, such that high temperatures or pH imbalances cannot destroy the covalent bonds. And these enzyme nanoparticle complexes can be reused several times in large-scale biofuel production by retrieving them using a magnetic field. And this will drastically reduce the cost of hydrolyzation enzymes. And to do these, and basically do these, I want to pursue a career in nanotechnology because I think the world on nanoscale is super fascinating. And I strongly believe nanotechnology has an enormous potential to offer increasingly valuable tools in tissue engineering. And as nanotechnology evolves, it will offer unique approaches in early detection and treatment of life-threatening diseases such as malignant cancers, eliminating the needs for the patients to undergo the treatment with severe side effects. And basically what I'm doing now is that, as you guys know, I won first place in the Arizona Sustainability Science Fair. And through that, it comes with a mentor. And this mentor is going to help me expand my project and really share what I'm doing with the rest of the world and help me use these methods. Like what I'm trying to do is use nanotechnology and genetic engineering in my project. My mentor will really help me with that. So I think that's what you were asking, right? Yes.
That's amazing. And it's a great connection to Zane. Zane, there is a question for you in the chat, and it is just about your vision and how long do you think, like what's your horizon timeline to accomplish this?
Yeah, my vision, I want to have at least a foundation for the program established by the end of my undergraduate years. Everything that I want to achieve, I want to have a base layer established. And then from there, I want to really open it up. Hopefully I can go even into other states. So really, we're just trying to figure it out as we go. But hopefully I can get the general structure established in the next 3 years, maybe the next 4 years. So yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Oh, and Vivana, did you want to comment?
I actually wanted to ask Zane one question because his vision is really inspiring. How did you get started in the science? How did you get started to do science and engineering again?
Yeah. So there was definitely. It's funny. I went to an elementary school that didn't really have as much of a STEM focus, so I got into STEM right in middle school, and really in high school is when I started to explore the science engineering fair specifically. I would say that's an excellent question. I think I would say that the beginning of high school, I began to be inspired by chemistry. Really, I found a passion there, and it developed into a passion for human body, neuroscience. It was all in tandem, but the classroom wasn't enough for me, so I wanted to look beyond to see what else I could do. I wanted to see what other opportunities there were. I heard people talking about science fair all my life, kind of like the stereotypical STEM extracurricular, but it was something that seemed really interesting, and I like presenting. I like oral presentations. So. Yeah.
Were your mentors your teachers?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. My mentors were my teachers. Neither of my parents are in STEM fields or really have connections to people who are in STEM fields. So it had to start with my teachers. I was fortunate to go to an early college, so I had the benefit of talking to some university faculty and hashing some ideas out with them. I didn't get as much guidance as I would have hoped for from them. So really I was asking my high school teachers for some assistance. But honestly, a lot of the work came from just looking up data, looking things up that inspired me, figuring out how I could connect them. It was a lot. I'm fortunate for my mentors, and I also think that I don't know how to put this exactly. I think I had to do a lot of the grunt work, maybe per se. It was self-driven, but there were a lot of mentors. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. And one of the themes I see across both of your talks and your responses to the Q&A has been kind of always learning. And it's very inspiring to see such great passion for learning and such openness to being a beginner and thinking about just the way that both of you are looking at chemistry in very different ways and how much use there is, how much variety there is within the sciences and even the engineering. You know, as I listen to folks talking, I can hear some of that design piece going into the work and cost analysis, which I got really excited about, because it's important, right? As we work on new science and engineering, it has to innovate. We need it to ultimately solve a new problem, which is great. Well, so thank you both so much. If you could use the reactions to cheer. And we appreciate all of your knowledge and your sharing. And for those of you who were able to join us live, I hope you can feel the importance of sharing your research so that others can learn from you. And we appreciate you being here today to be sharing your research. And so with that, I'm going to just go back to share my screen and I will push us off to the next piece of our day. And so thank you so much, Vivana. And just many thanks to our Spark speakers. I will connect again with Amari when she's feeling better, and hopefully you all will get a chance to learn more about her at some point in time. We truly did. Thank you for starting our day with inspiration and curiosity. I hope that those of you who are stepping in and out for judging feel like your brain is activated and ready for those conversations. What is next? We have a little bit of a break with Amari not feeling well. We have a little bit of time for you all to grab lunch. Dr. Lance will join us right at 11:30. We will get started. And we're looking forward to her. She's going to talk to us a lot about the different types of research that she's been able to engage with. And so the link for Dr. Lance is in Symposium. I can also just drop it in the chat for you all now in case you want to grab it as you head off for lunch. And so what you will do is we will end this meeting and you will have the opportunity to go grab some food, do whatever you need, and join us back at 11:30. You can grab that link directly, or you can just go back into Symposium at any point in time and join the live events via the links that are there. So thank you all so much. I had an amazing time learning from Vivana and Zane, and don't hesitate to reach out to them. They're very collaborative. If you hit the file button on the chat right now, you can actually download that chat so that you have their contact information. And with that, we are going to go to a quick break and then we welcome you to join us back for lunch. Thank you all so much.